Hi everyone, Leanne from Cake and Eat at 3. I am here for a behind the scenes number 2 today. Now we did try and get this away in Australia before we left, however there are a lot of things to organise when you're going on a road trip and all time got away from us, so I wanted to just quickly wrap up the key points, what we were finalising in the last 3 weeks before we left, to tie in with our previous behind the scenes planning to come away. Now we're here in the UK at the moment and we're currently with a friend picking up Betsy, the camper van, today, and we will recommence our road trip of UK and Northern Europe this year. So last year we were here, we did 3.5 months in Southern Europe, and we will now 5 months this year in England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Europe. So I hope you can come along and enjoy the journey with us. We love road tripping. It's definitely one of our preferred ways to travel. We're full-time in Australia and we've done multiple trips of Australia and we just absolutely love it. So any questions, just drop us a line. Facebook, Instagram, we're on everything. Subscribe to YouTube so you can keep abreast of what we're doing. And yeah, any questions, let us know. Now, and we hopefully might get to see a few of you out there. So, okay, behind the scenes, before we got here, basically, having done all the planning for the itinerary that I showed you in Behind the Scenes 1, which is predominantly Brett's main job and focus. He absolutely loves it. He is very particular with detail and it comes in handy. Now, that's not to say our plans don't change. However, when he's done his itinerary, he gives it to me and I can commence basic lesson planning, if you like, because as you know, we World School our Miss 10. So as soon as I got the itinerary, I then went through the key areas or the highlights that we're going to see. We checked into memberships that could assist us for saving money. So coming to the UK, we signed up and got our English Heritage passes, which of course, other than including Stonehenge, which was a pretty obvious one, Hadrian's Wall, there was quite a number of areas that we knew we were going to save a lot of money and benefit from that membership. It's a 12-month membership. We're here for 5 months in total within these areas, and some of it I think actually even applies back in Australia. So we'll be looking into that when we return because we then have the membership, but it's going to really pay off for us here. Find some memberships that may assist you. Find your apps that are going to assist in your accommodation. We wild camp, which is known over here, free camp back home, all the time. Absolutely love it, have no problems with it. And therefore we need some apps in order to make that easier for ourselves. Now, people will mention things, search for sites, Camper Contact, there's various different apps. They're 2 of the main ones that we would use. And along with that, we would join Facebook groups. So you've got your Motorhome Adventures, you've got your Wild Camping Scottish page, you've got so many, our World Schoolers, which are near and dear to our heart, being a World Schooler family ourselves. These guys, they know the information. They know where to go. They know what to do. So reaching out and having those connections is really important with us, and we've already teed up quite a number of catch-ups already in our stay here in the UK. So, make those connections. Then don't forget to save them somewhere. You talk to so many people online, and if you don't record who they are or which location they're in, no sooner will you go through the area they are and you will have totally missed it. So you've got a lot to remember when you're on the road. So I actually created a notes file in my phone of basic areas where my friends and our World Schooler connections are, and who is available when. I then messenger them before to have that connection in the phone ready so that I can let them know when we're in the area. And then, in true World Schooler style, not everyone makes a genuine effort to catch up. Not only is that socialisation for both the parents and the kids alike, you learn so much more about your local area being with someone from that local area. So we've showed plenty of people Perth while we've been home, and we love seeing the World Schoolers in their local areas with them because it's really special. So Worksheets. So as soon as I've got that itinerary from my partner, as soon as I've worked out where our local World Schooler friends are, and of course from years and years and years of travel, we've got a lot of friends all over the world, so we always try and touch base with them a few months out, to basically, we're coming, if you're around, we'd love to see you, and do our very, very best to catch up with them. So we definitely have already contacted those as well. Now, the worksheets. So we have a very large educational websites and resources page on our blog, Cake and Eat It 3. So it's www.cakeandeatit3.com. And we started creating this long before we actually left travelling, because we knew we were going to be world schooling our daughter, and we knew that we would have issues with data, and we knew that we would need to have as many of those resources itemised and easy reference when we're on the road. So we created the page on the blog, educational websites and resources, and then we broke it into subject headings, maths, English, etc. Now the one that I want to show you today, because when I am going overseas, obviously I'm trying to put together some lesson plans for Brianne. I'm trying to actually cover, the curriculum. I'm trying to cover multiple subjects, not just, our reading and our math. And, I want to make sure that we're tapping into that history and keeping it also as enjoyable for her as possible. So light and funny, is sometimes really helpful. She loves art. She loves creativity. So those sorts of things, I really try and make sure that they're involved in what we're doing for our schooling at the time. So website, we have our educational websites and resources. Now we put this together originally. We knew we were going to be full-time travelling. We knew we needed to make sure that we had all our websites and resources listed somewhere and itemised so that we would save on data. So particularly when you're overseas, data is very important. And even travelling Australia, we would use our data quota quite easily every month. So this has saved us a lot of research time every time we're looking for something. So I've broken it into maths, English, subject titles basically. I've also got a big miscellaneous section. So it's just on our blog under Kids Corner, educational websites and resources. And the one I want to show you is Ed Helper. Now Ed Helper has a lot of free educational worksheets and comprehension pages and everything. It's actually really helpful. It is overseas based, and I normally follow Australian curriculum. So I have my membership with Study Ladder in Australia, which is based on the Australian curriculum, and we make sure that we are then in line with her year level at school and her educational requirements there through Study Ladder. However, when we travel overseas, I want to make sure that we are really doing as much as we can in the countries that we're in to have her understand what we're looking at. Once you've looked at 10 castles, they all look the same. But if you can pull a funny story or a bit of history or weapon, discussing what they used to use for their weapons or their food or their, the culture of where you are, then all of a sudden the kids have a much greater understanding of the country and the difference between the countries that you're traveling through. So before we go, I go in. Now this particular website, I just wanted to show you because it's so easy to use. So all I did was go Norway, which you can see, it's already saved there. Hit search, and it already pulled in results that it has lesson planning or geography theme unit, various different, there's quite a few available, all that have Norway history. I think I grabbed that even though Miss B is in grade 5 this year. It says 6 to 8, it doesn't matter. You're doing it with them, you're talking. You can basically manipulate the lesson based on the level of understanding that your child has, and there's games, there's crosswords, there's puzzles, there's all sorts of learning opportunities in here. I've already been through taking out basically our trail. I then go into my my folders of homeschooling or world schooling, and I itemize them by country. So before we hit that country, I've already got YouTube clips that I've downloaded. I've already got history, culture, I generally do try and tie in some grammar comprehension. Now, whether that be on sports that are played in that country, on history, doesn't really matter. The comprehension is in the reading, the understanding, comprehending. So I really want that sort of thing behind it. And then I'll do our usual schooling, which I've already discussed in previous YouTube videos for you. But I've got my homeschooling diary. My homeschooling diary is itemised per week. I write down notes. This week's only just begun, obviously. So some weeks are going to be busier than others. I basically itemise exactly what she's been doing in the subject areas, whether we've caught up with various people. It's a great reference back to, particularly when we get home and you've been through so many wonderful places and met so many wonderful people. I've got that in there for her. She can look back over as well. I also am able to write notes or reminders. I have made key reference to some of these sites that I may need to reference back to. With Ed Helper, I can actually PDF them. So they're no data. So I'm do that in advance so that when I get there, it's merely opening the computer and all I got to do is make sure it's charged, which we'll share some videos with you of how we make sure that we keep everything charged on the road at a later date. We've got our Australian curriculum mental maths, we've got our grammar conventions, and we've got our spelling. Miss V is actually a very good speller and loves writing stories and everything. So we always make sure we have quite a large component of our learning based around that. It's not something, not because she just enjoys it. It also helps. She'll be writing. She has her own Instagram page, Ms. B Will Travel, and she's going to be writing some stories and really taking an interest in getting the stories of how a child travels through these countries out there. So, you know, we generally do spend a bit of concentrate a lot on our grammar and story writing for that purpose. When they love it, makes it easier for everybody. Behind the scenes, I do all of that before we go. This is not turning into another schooling video. Just want to, for parents, it's a major thing in what we do and where we're traveling. So, you know, that's important to me. Upload Maps.me apps. Oh my goodness, we wouldn't travel without Maps.me. And I'm sure everyone's got their own apps that they use. We love Maps.me. Basically, on foot, in a car, it doesn't matter. With a road tripping person, we park our car in a strange city, in a new country, and we park it there, and you've got to find your way back to that car. I know some people back home that park their car at the shopping centre and can't find it. This is amazing. Once you've parked, you pinpoint your location of where your vehicle is, and you go off exploring. As soon as you want to go back to your car, you hit the pin, go show me the route back, and it'll take you back there. Amazing. So same thing with in the car, if you're trying to get to a new destination, you can pop it in and it'll take you there. All offline. Before you go, download the maps. Have them all in there. When you get there, all offline. Fantastic. So we wouldn't be without a Maps.me. There is another couple of apps. Everyone's got their ones that they love. So, you know, pretty much just have a look at what's going to help you on the road. Okay, photocopying front and back of every card you're taking. Again, seems obvious. All your help numbers are on the back of your credit cards normally, and you will not remember everything you have with you. So a simple whack them all face down on a copier or a scanner, scan, flip them all over, done. Email them to yourself. So when and if something goes wrong, all you've got to do, access your emails, which you can do at any internet cafe or your computers, phones, etc. And then you can get that information and immediately have those cards stopped. You know, you can't be running that risk. Speaking of cards, before you go, you've got to talk to your bank. You've got to let them know that your card is going to be outside your country. You've got to make sure that, you know, you're not going to be in another country and all of a sudden your cards are being cancelled because of foreign use. We have a banker, we can shoot an email off and it's done without too much fuss. But I always, irrespective of that, go into a branch before leaving and go, can you please verify there is a notation on our file for those accounts. It just saves you a lot of trouble when you're on the other side of the world. In our case, it is a very long way from home. Okay, so your cards front and back. Now on that, scan in your passports in colour in and email them to yourself as well. Again, something goes missing, you want that copy. You want the colour copy ready to go. Just makes it so much easier when organising your replacement. The same thing would apply, not necessarily on your email, but in your external hard drives or computers or whatever you choose to store. We take external hard drives, USBs and computer in various locations so that you're never going to actually not have the information. Plenty of people use Dropbox, plenty of people use cloud storage. Whatever you're comfortable with, that's fine. But have a copy of your passports, birth certificates, all the stuff that when shit hits the fan, you're going to have that stuff available, because you need to act quickly in those circumstances normally. Same thing would apply for your travel insurance documents. You know, all those things that you're going to need quick reference to, you want them emailed to yourself so they're easily accessible in the event of an emergency. Okay, phones. Most of us these days carry a lot of crap in our phones, whether that be the Samsungs have various different locations for your screenshots, your photos, your folders. You clean them out. You're going to be taking so many photos. I will not even admit to how many photos we took in 3.5 months last year, and how long it took my overly excitable husband, who categorises, saves, folders and backs up every single photo that is numbered, described and sorted. So clean out your camera. Whether that be your digital camera, your phone, your video cameras, whatever and wherever you store it, clean it out so it's ready to go again. Particularly for people who full-time travel, you know, it can become a big job, a very big job to do. So we basically make sure now, this year, what we learnt from our trip last year, we will be stopping at the end of each country, taking everything off, storing it into the folder and its backup, and clearing it off the devices. It not only, when you're racing through countries on a road trip, become very difficult to determine where one beautiful scenery shot is and the next when you're crossing borders through, countries close in Europe and beautiful mountain ranges. You know, you need to, just save yourself the hassle when you get home by keeping on top of it when you're on the road. Random road signs help with that too. When you're passing over a border, snap a shot off. It doesn't matter that you don't want the photo, it's giving a clear line of where one country is finishing and where one's starting. Okay, I'll at the bank, done. Take cash for the first country that you're going into. So before you leave your own country, make sure you have gone to a currency exchange and got some currency for where the first country you're hitting is. It will take the stress out of we just did nearly 22 hours of flying to get from home in Australia to the UK with a stopover. So let me tell you, by the time I got here, I did not want to be worrying about that stuff. You are tired. You are a little bit cranky. And we also, there will be other things that you have to deal with, like getting to your accommodation, etc. So you don't want to be thinking about that. Take passwords for you. If anyone has online banking, if anyone has tokens for their online banking, passwords that they're going to need to get in to remedy things. We're gone 5 months. That is a long time for any number of things to go wrong. Now, we've got obligations or investments and that back home that we need to make sure if something goes wrong with any of those, we need to access information, have the necessary passwords to correct any problems, and email access, etc. while we're over here. So make sure you take those with you. Now, I choose to store them digitally in an encrypted file. You can do whatever makes you happy, but I don't like sending stuff like that by email. It's pretty much broadcasting it to the world for an easy hack. So we be a little bit crazy about security, but do what makes you feel comfortable, but have it with you. You won't be sorry. Okay, bills. The whole time you're away, bills still happen, life still goes on in your absence. Make sure you know where those bills are going, when they're due, and if they don't show up. We do a 12-month bills list for all our bills. We started that well before we started full-time traveling so that we could check it over We did it all for 1 year, every bill that came in, every reference number, every phone number for the bill, for the company, and preferably a contact or a website as well on that. We laminated it and it comes with us everywhere. Pretty much, I do know because I'm a little bit crazy with all that stuff, but I do know what the bills are and when to expect them and if they haven't arrived. But in the event that they don't, you can then get straight onto them and sort them out. Get as many to be pay view or emailed as you possibly can. Really pay attention to where does your stuff go, particularly if you're full-time in Australia as well and have multiple PO boxes or, you know, multiple home destinations. It's very difficult to remember where all of them are going. So that's behind the scenes number 2. Trying to be as helpful as we can for people who maybe haven't done it before. Everyone has their own way. No way is the right way. They're just some things that really help us that we hope will help you too. So happy travels, and we will see you soon.